Welcome to Spirit River Podcast with Petra. Today, my guest is Ruth Brennan, hi Ruth, who is a human design expert and instructor. And just as of late, I have decided to learn human design and dive a little deeper. So if you've heard about human design and you've always been curious, today is your chance to learn a little bit more. Welcome, Ruth. So good to be here with you today.
Thanks for inviting me, Petra. Yeah, my pleasure.
Likewise, likewise. So, my first question is, what prompted you to get into human design and how long ago did you embark on this incredible journey?
What a good question. There was so much going on in my life, 2010, 11, and 12. A long-term relationship of over 20 years was crumbling. I was starting to have blackouts, and a divorce uh, came into the picture about then. And in my younger life, in the 70s, as all of these new age things were coming out, I was fascinated and I studied, participated in anything I could get my hands on: transcendental meditation, hatha yoga at the time, um, est training, primal scream therapy, rolfing, and I've been a lifelong student of searching for uh, the meaning of God or religions or whatever. And then I got busy with my life, and started working and being involved in a lot of different things. But during this crisis, 2010, 11, and 12, I started rethinking my life and wanted to go back inside, and find out what the heck had happened to me. So, concurrent with this, in 2012, in January of 2012, I got diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, which started me on this long healing journey. And that was a long time ago. I'm still here. So I've had so much support and help. But during that time, I was searching about Gnosticism, Petra, and reading the Nag Hammadi scrolls. I can't remember if that's the right terminology, and revisiting religion, of which none of them ever felt completely right to me. But during this search, I ran across the video of this man who called himself Ra Uru, talking about human design. And I thought, what the heck is human design? So I started listening to his videos and I thought, oh my goodness, this is the tool that I've been looking for, me. And so I studied it on my own for about a year. I reached out to a professional analyst who happened to live in the same town I do. And we hit it off. She became a mentor. And I was off on my journey. I wanted to know everything about everything. I used it initially as a tool to help calm my mind and in a way to try to heal my body. It was one of the tools I used. So, yeah, fast forward, I went through all the basic courses. I went through the courses to become a certified analyst, and ultimately through the courses to become a teacher for the International Human Design School. And that's where I am today. I mostly teach for the International Human Design School. It's an online community. Yeah.
So, would you say that it was through human design that you were able to? I mean, stage four cancer is not an easy feat. And for you to be in a body still here after 15 years since your diagnosis, would you say that human design helped you?
You know, Petra, I have done so many things. I
Mhm.
mean, the list of things that if something came, somebody mentioned something and I felt an energy towards it, I tried it. I've tried dozens and dozens of things. But one thing that still stuck with me, yeah, was human design and the philosophy of being fully embodied, being in your body, and treating it in the most authentic way you can,
Mm.
which are some of the tools of human design. So I like to joke and say it saved my life. It is certainly one of the tools
Mm.
I used. And I've also had a wonderful medical team. I combine Western medicine and Eastern philosophies and alternative therapies. I still have cancer
Mhm.
and I'm still here.
That's
So,
extraordinary. You are
yeah,
you're on a certain drug, I'm assuming. Is that correct?
not at this time.
Oh
Uh,
my.
I am in between treatments
Mhm.
while they monitor the growth. And when certain parameters happen, then we talk about what particular treatment we might try to slow that back down.
And
So
there are
I've
so
done,
many alternative treatments now.
yes, I've
Mhm.
had two surgeries, uh, two separate courses of radiation, and 3 years of immunotherapy along the way.
Mhm.
But right now, in fact, I just had a scan last week. We monitor it every 3 or 4 months. So I know how I'm doing. And then when something needs to be addressed, I just do
Mhm.
whatever it is that I need to do.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm so happy you're still here.
Me too. What a blessing. Yeah. Yeah.
So, how does one learn human design? Like, how would one go about learning this incredible system? And what is it? Like, what is, I heard it has Western astrology, Eastern astrology, it has components of the I Ching, numerology. What am I leaving out?
A lot. And I prepared something for you and your viewers
Okay.
to give you a little visual. But I'd like to say human design is not a quick fix. On social media, you can get cute little bites and learn human design in a weekend. It's really a tool for self-awareness, and it is something that you observe in your life over time and make adjustments.
Mhm.
But it is a wonderful tool to help you what we would call differentiate. Human design is the science of differentiation. We're all so much alike, but we have this little bitty teeny difference in our genes or our DNA. And so, what human design looks at is your potential to be uniquely you, which is not the same as everyone else. Right? We are all designed to be very different. And if you would like to live a life that is uniquely yours, then this is the tool for that. Um,
Mm.
it's not easy. It goes against kind of the grain, and you have to learn how your mind works and make friends with that. But it can alleviate a lot of mental anxiety when you start to recognize how it works. Yeah, it's fascinating. Fascinating. And there's so many components to it. I mean, it's a vast amount of knowledge. we're going to look at today as one piece of the system, and that's
Mm-hmm.
an individual analysis. So,
Hmm.
would you like me to share the screen and show your folks what I prepared?
Yes, of course. I'm excited what you prepared.
Okay, so let's get this screen mode.
So what is this a chart for an individual that you've read before?
I am going to give an explanation about how the system is created. And then I created a surprise for you, Petra.
For
Uh,
me? Okay.
if you're interested, I'd love for us to take a look at your design, and we can see how we might actually interpret it for an individual.
Okay.
Is
So
that okay with you?
it is okay with me. I'm going to be exposed. Everyone's
Here
gonna
you go. So
know.
we're not going to give away all of your secrets,
Not all
just
of
a
them.
few,
Okay.
not all of them. Yeah. So as we move around the cycle of a year, we go through the 4 seasons. Human design has what we call a mandala. That is a calendar year that follows the hexagrams or gates around this wheel. And as we start a new cycle, so to speak, we are asked to listen for what is needed and remember what was learned, right? We evolve and grow cycle by cycle, year by year, by keeping what's working and leaving behind what isn't. I just love this little statement. So I wanted to start with that. Human design is a synthesis. So you have a big pot, and there are esoteric or less well known or less mainstream things in design, like astrology, the chakra system, the Kabbalah, the tree of life, and the Chinese I Ching. These are all ancient wisdom systems that looked at life, your life through the stars, etc. And these are synthesized with exoteric nature of design, or the more modern sciences that are actually starting to validate what the ancients already knew, like quantum physics, biochemistry, our genetics, our DNA, RNA, and the science of neutrinos. Neutrinos play a huge part here. They're these teeny tiny little subatomic particles that have mass. To give you an example, about 3 trillion of them pass through every square inch of you every second. And they come from, let me see, they come from the breath of stars. Neutrinos are created in the core of a star, right? And expels them from the core of the star. So we are constantly being bombarded with this energetic information being programmed by the star system, our solar system, and the background star field, right? So in Western astrology, we look at the position of the planets as we revolve around the sun. And that's where we look at an individual analysis, like what you see on this screen. Another part of the human design system is the global eras, large time periods which have themes. And that information comes from the progression of the equinox, the precession of the equinoxes, right? We're not going to talk about that today. So this is the human design mandala.
Mm.
The outer wheel has 64 hexagrams, also known as gates, right? And they run counterclockwise around the mandala. So these are the hexagrams. These will be the gate numbers, right? There are 64 gates in the mandala, and there are 64 codons in our genetic code. Katya Walter, I think in the 80s, wrote a book called The Tao of Chaos, and she scientifically correlated the I Ching and these 64 hexagrams to the 64 codons in our genetic code, and they mathematically perfectly align.
So the I Ching has 64 hexagrams because I love to do the I Ching, and we have all these books around the house. But fascinating, fascinating.
The ancient book of changes, written way over 5,000 years ago. It's used as a divination tool, as prophecy, like answers to questions. I mean, you can do all kinds of things with them. The founder of the system, Hu, took the ancient I Ching and wrote a version that's more modern, right, with the same essence, but kind of synthesizing all these other elements into it as well. And then this ring right here are the 12 houses of the zodiac to help orient you to the sky, right? So I'm a Capricorn, and this is Capricorn here. And there are all of these gates. Each gate has one of 6 lines, which makes it more and more specific. Each line has one of 6 colors, which makes it even more specific. Each color is one of 6 tones, which makes it more specific. And each tone has one of 5 bases. There are a minimum of 1,080 variation of each gate and line. So it gets very, very specific. So we kind of think of the houses of the zodiac as the macrocosm, and human design gate and line architecture is the microcosm. The body graph, which you see in the middle, which is what we look at when we talk about an individual chart, has 9 geometric shapes. We call them centers. They are a mutation from the 7-center chakra system, which is well over 2,000 years old. And we have mutated as beings since then. Human design has 9 energetic hubs where the 64 gates are placed, and it has 36 pathways or channels that connect the centers. And these come from the Kabbalah, the tree of life. Yes. So we have a lot more going on there. We don't have time to go into anything, but it gives you kind of an idea of the depth and breadth of the system. And here is Petra. This is Petra's body graph.
That looks really different from the other chart you just showed us.
Right. Because when we look at it in this form, we're drilling it down to, right, your individual elements. So much like many ancient cultures, human design has 2 sets of imprints, or we're endowed with 2 different crystals of consciousness. One is the design crystal, And there are 13 imprints here based on the sun, the earth, the moon, the nodes, Mercury, Venus, all the way to Pluto. This is the gate and its corresponding line. And then we have the same 13 imprints into the personality crystal right over here. These calculations for your personality, who you think you are, come from the same data you use to create an astrological chart. But of course, this is much more detailed, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things that makes human design so very different is we also look at, right? So we think this is our eternal soul, our consciousness coming down for this lifetime to inhabit this body. So we also have a design of the body, of the form, that gets imprinted by a calculation of 88 degrees of the sun before birth, when the form, right, says, okay, in 88 degrees, I'm ready to be born. Or roughly, right, the orbit of Mercury around the sun. So this is the body, and this is the soul. We're not one or the other, but human design looks at the quantum of these two, the quantum. So we are consciousness in a form, right? The form has one life. The body has no problem dying. It lives, it dies. The personality, right, our consciousness is eternal, and it incarnates in and out of different bodies. So we are a quantum of our consciousness in form. Much like a lot of ancient cultures, like the Phoenicians, had two burial grounds, one for the body and one for the spirit or soul, to honor them both. Mm-hmm. Human design is about the wisdom of the body, the form, right? Without getting too deep and complicated. The body doesn't need the mind to be built. The entire body is created. The heart beats, the brain works. Once you are born, of course. You breathe, your heart beats, your mind doesn't have to tell your body to do all these things. The body automatically knows. Well, your body intelligence at this stage of our evolution also knows where you should be going and what you should be doing to reach your highest potential, to ultimately differentiate, right? So human design teaches us to tap back into that body intelligence, right? And let the mind be free to be a passenger or have metaconsciousness, if you will. The mind is here to observe your life, to learn things, and to ultimately share them to add to the collective consciousness on the planet. When the mind is busy making decisions, it has no time for that. It's busy weighing, is this good or bad? Is this right or wrong? Well, I'm going to do this, you do that. And then the same mind that made that wrong decision says, I shouldn't have done that. And says, right? So it's always second guessing itself. And long story short, it's how our minds are designed to work right now, right? To keep us safe. But there is another way, and that other way is learning to listen to your body intelligence and letting your mind do what it's here to do, which is to gain so much wisdom. So we have an energetic type. How does your energy work? What is your energetic field like? If we believe Nikola Tesla, everything is energy, is frequency, and how your circuit board, if you will, is hardwired, creates your energetic frequency, which transmits out. Hi, I'm Petra. I'm this, that, and the other thing. And I am here to take in and learn about all of this, which isn't colored in. So you're very open, Petra. You have an open and enveloping aura. And you're here to take in life, right, in so many different ways, to learn about life in different ways, right? As you honor your form by following your energetic frequency, which we find down here with your, what we call defined centers. Yeah. And there are so many other things I could tell you. But I like to say, so what questions, right, do you have? What would you like to look at? Because I could talk to you for days about different things, but I'd like to keep this relevant. So do you have any curiosities?
Well, I would like to know. So obviously, we've known each other for 10 years, so you know that I went to India and that I had a near-death experience. Is that something that you can see in the human design, that I had that kind of life already? Is that something that shows up?
Yes,
And wait,
probably in many, many ways. But what I would point to, and this center here at the top, this white triangle that points upward, is the head center. It's the only center that lives partially inside the body and partially outside of the body, but within our auric field. Personality crystal actually sits up here so we can watch. But I see that we would call this an undefined head. It takes in information from anywhere and everywhere, right? The neutrino stream, the neutrino ocean, the Akashic records, whatever you like to refer them to, come in like this. And because of this imprint, hexagram 61, which is down here in your personality, Saturn, right? Gate 61 is the gate of mystery, the gate of inner truth, or a gate that wants to know what isn't known. Mm-hmm. So all of the information, ideas, and inspiration that you get that come from anywhere and everywhere are filtered through this. What's my truth here? What is the truth, right? And it is, and that truth leaves you alone as long as you follow it. But if you buck your truth, right? If you go against your truth, then Saturn, in a way, punishes you, or it's slaps you on the wrist, if you will. Right? And it doesn't work as well. This is a mutative force. Your unique knowing of your inner truth, based on your experiences, is designed to be mutative, right? To bring quantum leaps in understanding to you and potentially empower others. Your personality sun, which is up here in gate 31, right, which is a gate of influence. Mm-hmm. You are here. Everything about you filters through this influential voice. Influential voice that has learned what your truth is by trying lots and lots of different things, by living life, by being hands-on, right? By going through, when we look over here, tough times in your young life. A sixth line can experience, right, third line properties up until they're almost 30, right? These carry the wounds that get healed over a lifetime that ultimately turn into your wisdom, right? Your design sun is the gate of caring, of nurturing and nourishing others, right? So your influence is very nurturing and nourishing. And that is grounded in your body by knowing what is worth risking, what is worth your energy. Mm-hmm. And your influence is grounded over here by gate 41, which in terms of our DNA, this is the start codon. Our genetic code has one start codon. And in human design, that's gate 41, the gate of recognition of feelings. It is a pressure and a fuel to experience new things, to go on a new experience that makes you feel. And as you feel, you learn. And as you learn what your truth is, right, you are compelled, when it's correct, to share it with other people in a very influential, a very nurturing and nourishing way, with instinct to know what you should or shouldn't do. And you're grounded by this. I want to do something new. Dreams, daydreams, desires, fantasies, is this grounding force, lots and lots of experiences. So
looks
much.
like we have some similarities, you and I, because you were on this exploratory path for so long, trying out everything. I mean, mine started when I was literally 11 years old.
Yes, you have, and this energy down here, this is called the channel of mutation. This formats or drives everything that you are. And it is like an on and off switch. Nothing happens. And then all of a sudden, something happens. It's changed. You've grown seemingly out of nowhere. But you never know when that's going to happen.
Fascinating, fascinating. So are there any items on this chart that I should be aware of physically? Like, should I be concerned about certain organs in my body? Does the human design cover that sort of thing?
Each of the centers have a biological correspondence that connects to, right, the amino acids, etc. Each center has biological correspondences, and some gates are particularly attached to one organ. I like to mention number one, you are what we call a generator, someone who has this endless, boundless energy. When your body signals yes. And so when something comes at you, a sign, a brochure, somebody talks to you, something comes into your aura from outside of it, there is what we call a response, or there's a physical response to what's coming at you, which is the that excitement, that forward movement of energy that you get, right? When you're excited about something, when it feels so right.
Mm.
Or on the other hand, if somebody asks you to do something and you go, this draining of energy, right? That's your body telling you, not a good time for that right now. Not the right time, the right place, the right person. And then the wishy-washy, I'm not sure energy that you feel, right?
Mhm.
That is a no for now. Doesn't mean no, nothing means no forever. But it's about being in the right place at the right time with the right people. So other energies are lined up towards, right, um, a satisfying encounter, right? When you make a mental decision to do something, and I'm going to give you an example here. When you don't listen to this body signal and our very strong screaming minds say, but wait, I have to say yes, because if I don't, they're going to think I'm not a good wife. I'm not a good friend. I'm not a good mother. So I'm going to say yes. But there wasn't energy for that. This particular motor actually degenerates. Things that you don't want to do that you say yes to, you can get very tired very quickly. I experience it as heaviness
Mm.
and frustration. I just don't have energy to do this. So this little center here is small but mighty. You have two gates, gate 40 and gate 21. Right? Gate 40 is the gate of the stomach. And gate 21 here is the gate of the actual heart muscle.
Mhm.
So when you're not pushing, when there is energy available through your yeah, then that works perfectly. Then you're aligned to your energetic field. So there's no resistance. But if you say yes when it was really I don't want to do it in your mind, right? Then you put stress and pressure on those biological correspondences because energy isn't available and you're stealing it from a place that doesn't have consistent energy, right? This is drive, determination, and willpower, the ability to survive the mental plane. When it's undefined, that's an inconsistent energy in you. So you can't operate on pure will alone without putting strain on your heart and on your stomach.
So what you're saying essentially is that people most of the time are in, I mean, I would say the majority of humanity are doing things for money, for income that they don't necessarily love.
It is so sad.
And
Uh,
so really we're sort of trapped as a species to do these things where we are not in alignment with what we're doing just so we can survive. So we're in a survival mode constantly. And it is that
Fear
survival
driven.
mode,
Yeah,
fear driven, that then in turn makes us sick because it compromises our heart or lungs or whatever organ is the weakest.
exactly. You
Mm,
know, the head center up here, mental pressure, worrying about things in this particular case. And we call this
mm,
not self. And definition is true self. What is authentically you? It's consistent and reliable energy hardwired in.
mhm.
When it's not colored in, it's inconsistent, right? That's not bad because these are I guess you could say, our profit centers, if you want. You're here to sell ideas and inspiration. You're here to sell all different ways of thinking about things. You're here to, right, help others learn how to be attractive, get attention. You're here, right, to try so many different ways of doing things, so many different avenues. You're here to become really wise about others' health and well-being. And you can measure who has what it takes or not. These are the gifts here. But when your mind, and there's evolutionary reasons for this, your mind acts like it did, 300 years ago, 400, 500. That's the way our minds still work, right? But we have the ability now to be sovereign, where we didn't in the past, right? We could have never built the infrastructure, the civilizations that would support this huge population on the planet if everybody just did their own thing, right? So we had to follow the leader. And most of that was accomplished by kings and queens and religious figures, emperors, pharaohs, by following the leader. And religions were formed during this time to keep people in line so that things could get done. And it was very correct back then. But this evolution in our form, if you will, took place in 1781. And new mutations of humans started being born. We live longer lives where our energetic field is different, right? We're not self-contained. We cooperate and integrate with one another. And we have, right, this super intelligence inside our body. But our minds, for 100,000 years, were in charge. And that doesn't go away overnight. So our minds still work like they're afraid they won't survive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the biggest tools that human design can give you, is to recognize how your mind works, how it was influenced by everybody else, right? Your parents, your siblings, your culture, your community, your teachers, et cetera, right? Different communities have different rules. If you don't do this, this, and this, you won't go to heaven. We'll shun you from the community if you don't do this, this, and this. So everybody just followed the leader blindly.
So it is that paradigm that we fell into, whatever the paradigm looked like, that then you come to something like human design. You said, "Yeah, wait a minute, I haven't been happy in my life because I've been doing things over on this side that I really am not resonating with, but yet I've been in this job for 40 years or 30 years." And then suddenly you wake up to that and you say, "Okay, I'm going to really do now what it is I truly feel that I should do, or that I just want to be. How about I just want to be? I don't want to do anything. I want to get out of doing into being." Is that the message of human design?
In a way, yes, absolutely. Right. We are here to honor who we are. And so at this, look at how many billions of people are on the planet now. We don't need a bunch of sheep, constructing pyramids and roads and building trenches, right? We are here now to evolve consciousness. In this stage of evolution, we're here to bring in new things, do things new ways, new ideas, right? And that only happens when we're unique. if we have the same ideas and do the same things the same way everybody's always done it, we don't move forward
Mm-hmm.
in consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not easy though, because when I first started, we call it experimenting, because it's not a black and white rule book. It's information and knowledge you take in and try it, experiment with it in your life to find what's true for you. I don't tell you. And I always start out, don't believe anything I say, Test it out, see what works, how it works for you, and you then create your own unique way of being within the system.
So I have a question. What does Ra teach in terms of, and by the way, what was his full name? Again, it was Robert
He's Robert Krakauer, and
Krakow.
he was a Canadian.
Okay, right.
Uh,
So,
and then he moved to Europe in Ibiza, and it was Ibiza, Spain, where he had what he called his encounter with the voice.
okay. So what happens if a person completely embodies the message of human design and actually really does the work and meditates and totally stays in the beingness? And how does that then influence them for their next life? So I would imagine that if I look at this chart, and I don't really know completely what it means yet, but I'm sure you'll enlighten me further, especially those brown spots on the bottom. I want to know about those. And then, if I were to, I feel from what you said that I'm already living a large portion of that
Mm-hmm.
because, I teach Reiki, I do retreats, I'm a writer, I'm a ghostwriter. I love to interact with people. I love to do events, and everything is true. Everything you said is true. That I love to help people see themselves as to who they really are and help them see their own beauty and their soul. And that is why when I was 23, I joined a meditation path that was called Sant to meditate basically on stilling the mind and dying to yourself daily so you can begin to live. So basically, leaving the body so that you can go out into the universe, out into the ethers to figure out who you really are as consciousness. That's not always easy to come back into the body when you're out in the higher consciousness realm, because then coming back into the body is a little dense. And so I had to do a lot of rebalancing, and I'm assuming that you can see that in my chart in my younger years that I had a really difficult time staying grounded on earth.
Yeah, we would need to look at your
Mm,
younger years. This is what we call the natal chart. This is who you are reliably and consistently from when you're born to when you die. When
mhm,
you die correctly, which is a whole other topic, right? Then the personality crystal naturally goes back to what we call its bundle,
mm,
and then it shares what it's learned, right?
mhm,
Until it incarnates again. The body, the design crystal, returns to the mantle of the earth where it gets burnt up, I guess, and rebuilt. I'm not saying that very eloquently. Um, but there are solar returns. There are lessons every year that we can look at by what the planetary influences are each year, how
mm,
what you are here to experience and learn from as thematics. And then we have large cycles we look at, which are your maturation cycles and the lessons to learn in those larger cycles. And then we also have incarnation cross readings, which is strictly about your particular path, right, to purpose, right, digging way down deep, right, when you are aligned to the correct frequency, right, you are designed to be in a certain place, and it's not a location as much as circumstance or conditions. So you can see what you're here to see, interact with the right people, learn what you're here to learn, which is a specific piece of the puzzle that is your unique contribution to the world, if you can do that. It is not easy to live your design perfectly, and I have what it has done for me. And I get super excited talking about it to this day, right? I look at a new chart and I go, wow. Making friends with my mind, calming the mental noise and anxiety. It's all still there, but my relationship with it has completely changed.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, and in a world where there is so much anxiety and stress right now, this
Mm-hmm.
is so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
If people could study this and go inward a little bit, they would be able to overcome some of this anxiety and stress that is being experienced all around us.
Yes, so many of the great masters, ancient and modern, right, would tell you that, like in this moment, everything is perfect. But what about this, and what about that, and the wars, and there's always going to be chaos, right? Nothing is fair or just, so to speak. But what you can count on is your inner GPS.
Mm-hmm.
You can stand, well, Robert Krakauer changed his name to Ra, R-A, Uru, U-R-U-H-U. We call him Ra, right? He said, learn to trust yourself and love yourself. So it's learning to love the truth of who you are, right? Bumps, bruises, warts, and all, right? We all have the best of us and the worst of us inside of us. And that's okay, because they're really not that different. They just are. Things just are. We are here to witness, be a witness, and learn from what is around us, feeling confident that we are making the best decisions for ourselves.
Mm.
Right? So, yes, the sky may be falling, but it's not falling on me right now. And
Mm.
even if it were, right, that's just the way it is. For me, it's been such a tremendous tool and a gift to understand that my loved ones, my friends, my neighbors don't have to think like I do, don't have to act like I do. We are all very different, and I can't judge you through the lens of who I am, because you're different.
Mm-hmm.
So have compassion for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and learn compassion for others through
Gosh, this is so enlightening.
that.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. So how do people find out more about you, Ruth, or how do they even begin? Where do they go to?
Yes, what a great question, Petra. Uh, I just had to show you, I pulled out your advanced chart
Mm.
because this is another layer below the last slide and tells us so much more about you. Um, just, it's called advanced imaging, and
Mhm.
it tells a lot of things. I just wanted to show it to you. it does no good to start to explain because we don't have context to understand it. Yeah. So there are so many social media influencers that talk about human design.
Mhm.
I study, practice, teach the original knowledge because for me, I like to learn from the source
Mhm.
and make up my own mind. Many, many people have, well, studied or read a book and now are human design experts and have put their own twist on it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you truly want it to be life changing or enhance your life, pick one source. And so you have to be careful about what you read or believe because it's all wonky different. Um, the International Human Design School, or IHDS, uh, is the home of uh, teaching the school systems that Ra himself started and built. So he passed in 2013, by the way, so he's no longer with us. But
Yeah.
his original students and their students are the ones who teach and run and keep his vision and knowledge pure. And that's where I work. So I don't know, Petra, maybe we could put a link under the podcast. Um,
Definitely. Mhm.
I can send you a link to the International Human Design School's website page for newcomers. And
Mhm.
it kind of gives you a list of things to do first. I would
Right.
just say, don't believe everything you read and say. Um, it can be very confusing. Pick one source, right? So that it's complex enough than getting different information from
Mhm.
so many different sources.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you wanna shut down the slide so we can come back into full screen for a minute? There we go. Yay! Gosh, thank you.
Of course.
I felt,
Yeah.
I felt it was quite accurate, you know, because the first part of my life was rather difficult and testing, challenging for sure. Lots of death, near-death experience, age 9. My mother died when I was 16. I found her dead in the kitchen. You know, a war in Iran. My first husband was from Persia. It was a very difficult time watching that whole dilemma. Then, oh, so many things. And in India, I was in India for a long time studying with a guru, with my master. And yeah, I felt it was really accurate, and I'd love to dive deeper with you. I definitely want to go deeper and understand my own human design. And thank you, everyone, for coming to listen to us. And thank you, Ruth, so much for being here and sharing your extraordinary knowledge with this science. Is it a science? Can we refer to it as a science?
Science is defined as something that is verifiable.
Hmm.
And so you can take this information and verify, experiment with it and verify it in your own life. So I say it's safe to call it a science, yes.
Cool. All right. Then I'm going to call it a science from now on.
The science of differentiation. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all of the notes will be on YouTube. So just scroll down and you will see how to get a hold of Ruth or the organization, the Human Design School. So you can study and maybe get some books. I'm sure all the books are on Amazon. And again, Ruth, I am so grateful for you and thank God you're here. And I wish you a marvelous day. Thanks for joining Spirit River Podcast. And I wish you a wonderful, wonderful day. Be blessed. Ciao, ciao.